Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, bringing you a grand solar minimum update on Thursday, November 1st at 9:17 p.m. Mountain Time 2018. You're looking at 83 earthquakes over the last 30 days off the west coast of Canada. More than 40% of all the quakes in Canada for the same time. That is an uptick in geologic terms. Welcome to the grand solar minimum. Keep calm, though. It's boom time. Heads up. Latest Colorado weather forecast, more mountain snow this weekend, looking like 6 to 12 inches as we enter November. Let's come over to my buddy, meteorologist Joel Gratz, and get the latest. Multiple storms will bring 1 to 2 feet to the Rockies in the first week of November. Yeah, the storm track is locked and loaded from western Canada through the spine of the Rocky Mountains in the U.S. An addition of 6 to 12 inches has fallen, and let's check the numbers. This is yesterday at Taos, reporting over a foot of snow in New Mexico. Ho ho. Breckenridge, Colorado, measuring in at 11 inches. Heads up, Breck. Winter Park in northern Colorado, I got 8. Beaver Creek, 6 to 7 inches. Wolf Creek, right out the door, 16 inches of global warming whiteness. A-Hole Basin, October 31st, that's A Basin, 4 inches. And the snow forecast through the 14th is looking like heavy snow coming from the northern Canadian Rockies south. Whew, let's push the button. Yes, we did it. We pushed the button. We're going to have some moderate snow in the northern New England, heavy snow coming into eastern Canada, and the Rockies. The high elevations are going to get pummeled through the central mountains of Colorado. Yeah, that's you, Wyoming. That's you, Montana. That's you, Idaho. Heads up, British Columbia. You're about to be buried. We can go on with the future forecast models, but you don't want to look at it. Here's the extended forecast through Thursday, 11:15. Heads up, Northeast. You're going to be below normal, frigid conditions. The green circle here is exceptionally cold, which is where we would expect glacial ice to be building in the fall as we go into a new ice age. I love giggling. There are the downpours. Let's see what they're talking about. Can we move it up? Northeastern U.S. to face more downpours. Say it ain't snow, it's rain, but local damaging winds and interior snow will be there. Rain and wind are expected to ramp up across the northeast United States, with snow returning to parts of the interior into the first half of this weekend. We're about to check the models, and it's snowy. Yes, global warming whiteness of goodness, burying areas of the western U.S., but you're going to get into a little bit of mix here. Back to storms aiming at the northeast. That will prevent the dry and mild weather that started November from south of Boston to New York City and D.C. from lasting more than a day. Yeah, you're going to get wet again. Black mold and mildew is your nightmare, as well as black plague and other things coming soon to a major metroplex near you. Heads up, New York, Philly, get out. A few thunderstorms can rumble during this time, and it's not out of the question for an isolated damaging windstorm to be produced across central PA and New York State and other areas. Heavy rain is going to be moving in on Friday with a very wet northeast, especially along the coast. Friday p.m. to Saturday morning, flash flooding, locally damaging winds, travel disruptions for all the major airports, LaGuardia, JFK, Philly International, all the way up the coast. Because of the threat for gusty winds, those with Halloween decorations outside that become airborne may want to bring them in before that spooky goblin becomes a guillotine of death. And that's tonight's first boom. Vendetta style. And this is also a boom. Boom! The air will be cold enough for snow to return to the higher terrain at the start of the weekend, which means Mount Washington, yes, the White Mountains, the Green Mountains, the Adirondacks. In fact, west of the Poconos, you're talking AM mix. Snow showers may occur light and white in the mountains from West Virginia to southern New York on Saturday. That could be the understatement of the grand solar minimum century. Cold snap could send natural gas to $5. Holy ow! That fraud told us it's going to get hot and we're never going to see snow. And now we're seeing record high natural gas because of record cold temperatures. Is someone repeating what I'm saying to the general public? The natural gas market has been looking rather tight, although they're pumping it out of the ground at record proportions throughout the state of Colorado and other areas around the globe. Almost every area outside of a major metropolitan area where you buy natural gas is the groundwater is being completely toxified while they jack fucking prices up. Do you know how much natural gas is around? I can't wait till the empire collapses and we can light these pipelines on fire to create heat. We'll have small growing areas near the pipelines that are lit on fire. It'll be beautiful. Glorious even. Let's check the snowfall totals that Al Gore said we'd never have before 6-7 weeks out from winter, and it is epic. Snow north of 45 degrees is everywhere. Almost 90% of all the areas north of 45 are going to get snow. If you don't know what I'm talking about, please take a little lesson on longitude and figure out where you're on the earth. It's pretty important on the days we're coming into. Yes, these are days that are historically repeated, time immemorial. The GFS total snowfall numbers are showing up to 2 feet of snow hitting eastern Canada by Monday morning. And you should be looking to up to 1 foot to 2 feet of snow in the central mountains of Colorado. Yes, we're talking western Wyoming, southern Montana. You know where you are in Utah and British Columbia. Heads up, the snow totals there are just deepening and deepening. Through November 11th, you're looking at up to 5 feet of snow in some areas in BC, widespread areas of 4 feet of snow, and 2 feet of snow burying East Coast Canada. Heavy snows forming up here in the Hudson Bay region, where we're going to see record ice growth over the next 4 weeks. The snow's coming down into the Sierras in Northern California, the Cascades through Washington and Oregon, all getting buried. Heads up, Utah, you are finally going to have a snow season. I love Utah. Park City, man. KT27. Do it. Environment Canada forecast deluge for the lower mainland. Do you know what that means? That means you're going to be flooded. Yes, biblically. Lower mainland. Snow for northwest BC. We just showed you 5 feet of snow in the next 2 weeks. If that's not a deluge of snow in BC, then it certainly is for the lower mainland, according to this title. On the south coast, Environment Canada is forecasting 60 to 80 millimeters. That sounds like a shit ton until you figure out what a millimeter is. Then it's completely bloviating. That's only 6 to 8 centimeters, which is like nothing. Couple of inches. Residents of British Columbia, Bulkley Valley are greeting winter-like conditions while those in parts of the inner south coast are splashing through the deluges. Environment Canada posts weather warnings for those regions. Rainfall warnings are issued for the Fraser Valley, Howe Sound, and parts of Metro Vancouver, while the snowfall warnings are in effect for the Bulkley Valley, including communities of Burns Lake and Smithers. It's true, hoser. 10 to 15 centimeters of snow are expected across the Bulkley Valley. Meteorologists say that snow could switch to rain later in the day, but we always see snow, so it doesn't matter, On the south coast, it's forecasted to be like a lot of rain, And the hardest hit areas will be inside, hoser. Let's get to the truth. Another earthquake in BC, breaking down the latest rumble. On Thursday, November 1st, 2018, 7:56 p.m., another earthquake was measured west of Vancouver Island. Just shy of magnitude 5.0 on the Richter scale. Yes, in fact, it came in at 4.9. I don't know why they don't say that. They just like the 5.0. Ho, ho, ho. Boom! And that's a boom, too. So we like it, too. Now, magnitude 4.9, depth 10 kilometers, 208 kilometers south of Port Hardy. Simply an aftershock to the major 6.8 that occurred there just days ago. Maybe weeks. I don't know. I'm not keeping track. How many earthquakes do you think occurred in British Columbia over the past month? 83. Why? Because I just told you. And I'm not lying. They're the facts. You could suck it because this is facts. No one made up those dots. They were put there after the events occurred. Unlike lens flares in Nibiru, which is all fake. Anyway, 83 earthquakes off the west coast of Vancouver Island during the past 30 days, which is 40% of all the earthquakes in Canada, which is a shit ton. Because if you just come over here to John Cassidy's blog, you can see all the quakes across Canada. There's a lot in the east and a lot in the west, and almost none in the middle. So expected, shit ton in the west is expected. But still, this is over twice as many normal earthquakes and over 5 times as many earthquakes in this region in 30 days. What does that mean to you? This region is well overdue for an 8 magnitude or greater. In fact, it is about 20 to 50 years overdue for an 8 magnitude. We are just reaching the cusp of overdue for a 9 magnitude in this region. So, based on the uptick during grand solar minimums of major earthquakes and major earth-changing events, we would suspect that in the next decade, an 8 and a 9 magnitude both will occur in this region in the next decade or so. It's my prediction that an 8 magnitude or greater will happen in this region over the next 2 years. I predict next winter to be the time where this area moves. And it's going to move the same time that volcanoes are erupting in the Cascade Range. So if you're picking up what we're putting down, you should start preparing now. And what are you preparing for? You're preparing for the ring of fire to light the f up, as it does always with cosmic ray influence. These graphics are awesome, but they don't make you feel good unless you can hear something. Now let's hear a young punk talk about seismicity.
All right, an interesting event is taking place in the Cascadia subduction zone in the Pacific Northwest. This is called an episodic tremor and slip event. It occurs about every 15 months, and it begins in Washington State and migrates northward. So you get these hundreds and hundreds of tiny tremors moving across western parts of Vancouver Island. That's measured by GPS. It's moving really slow slip fault movement over a period of about 2 weeks. So you see this cluster here. Starts in Washington State, crosses the Strait of Juan-Fuca, and then moves into parts of southern Vancouver Island. It does add stress and can increase the likelihood of a megathrust earthquake in this case, and they happen about every 500 or 600 years.
He just said Juan-Fuca and megathrust in a minute. Think about it.
And that's just with the Juan-Fuca plate diving under the North American plate. So those are relatively rare events, but this does increase the likelihood of one of those events occurring.
Oh my God, Juan-Fuca thrusting under the diving plate of thrusting. And that is a Juan-Fuca boom! And a cartoon boom at that. Double boom, punch in the face, V for Vendetta, blow up the fucking statue. Boom! Holy shit. Should we watch that again, kids? Technology.
Interesting event is taking place in the Cascade. Interesting event is taking place. Interesting event is taking place. Interesting event is taking place. But an interesting event is taking place.
Hello?
All right, an interesting event is taking
Hello?
place. But an interesting event is taking place. But an interesting event is taking place in the Cascadia subduction zone in the Pacific Northwest. This is called an episodic tremor and slip event. It occurs about every 15 months. And it begins in Washington State and migrates northward. So you get these hundreds and hundreds of tiny tremors moving across western parts of Vancouver Island. That's measured by GPS. It's moving really slow slip fault movement over a period of about 2 weeks. So you see this cluster here. Starts in Washington State, crosses the Strait of Juan-Fuca, and then moves into parts of southern Vancouver Island.
I can't handle the truth. I'm sorry. Where the past great earthquakes happen, get heads up. You know where they happen? Right here. Here's the great rupture zone. There's the spot. That is the spot that kicks off the tsunami of death. Let's close up it. Are you near here? Get the out of Dodge. And that's all we have to say. Get out. Get out now. Must see rare duck spot. And oh, no, we're not reporting on that. Here are the quakes. 83 in 30 days. 40% of all quakes in Canada. John Cassidy, check him out. We're following him. He's picking up what we're putting down at the earthquake guy. I don't even know that. I just said it. So ask him. Now, if you're in a major earthquake, this is what the mainstream is saying you should do. 1, drop. 2, cover. 3, hold the fuck on and kiss your ass goodbye, according to Diamond, because that building's about to collapse on your ass. If you listen to this nonsense and you're in your house and you die because the roof crushes you after you grab the dinner table leg, then you're an idiot. We recommend you jump out the fucking window. Go to the middle of an open field and lie down. Put your head between your knees. Put your arms over it all and hold on to your body. Get out of harm's way. Get away from trees. Go into the middle of a field and lay down and stay down. Do not get under a table and hold the leg unless you want to kiss your mother-ing ass goodbye. This is for old people and lazy people in moderate quakes when just chandeliers and things are falling. You'll be fine if you do this. But if it's a major quake and you do this, your spine is going to be thrust directly into your knees. Your brain is going to be shoved directly into your elbow, and you'll be dead, flat like a pancake, as your eyeballs squish out to the right and your toes explode out to the left. Yes, just like I described. And that would be horrible. Boom! Because that will be the sound of your toes and your eyeballs exploding. It is Preparedness Month. Well, Preparedness Month just ended moments ago. That was October. Italy, earthquake. Sicily, rocked by 6 quakes in a week. Could Mount Etna erupt? No, it's the Express. They're fearmongers. But we will talk about the data. Seismologists in Italy reported 2 quakes in the last 24 hours, taking the total to 6 in just 7 days. Illuminati much? The first came at 7:22 p.m. when a magnitude 2.4 rumbled, while there was a 3.2 tremor recorded earlier hours of the morning of 1:14 a.m. Now, why do we care about Mount Etna? It's not a particularly dangerous volcano. Even when it erupts, most people are away from the lava in the areas of danger, which is just around the edge of this volcano. Now, what may happen is this baby may slump into the ocean. And we've showed you those mock-ups. And they are not a mockery to see at all. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to watch the rest of the 775 videos we've already created. Please don't come onto the channel, watch 5 videos, and start commenting below about the fact that we never talk about chickens or pigs. Because you're going to sound stupid. We know all about the necessity of fat in the grand solar minimum. We're just not telling you. We're stockpiling in several bunkers underground. Bear fat, elk fat, pig fat, and other types of products that can be used for multivariate sources, including soap making, bomb making, and food preparation, as well as simply candle oil, lamp oil. Do you know about Ernest Shackleton and the use of hoosh? They ate it, they bathed in it, they used it for heat, and they used it for light. They used it for everything. Oppenheimer Ranch Project. In general, we are schooled academics. We started our academic research back in the 80s, and we haven't stopped since. We haven't bought into the dogma. We have not submitted to the powers that be, and no one pays my paycheck. You know who came back from prison? Diamond did. And he's back to kick ass and take names. And I don't care what anyone has to say. They can suck it. Earthquake update, Chilean Uptick. We have a 6.2 in Iquique. We've been putting this area on high alert for the past 2 weeks, and sure enough, it is upticking. The only other quake of note is a 4.3 at depth, 600 kilometers in Fiji, heads up to this region, all the way down to New Zealand and over into Indonesia. And we do have the New Madrid activating today and yesterday to moderate activity. Just a few small quakes. This one 2.6 in Blytheville. So we'll keep note of that. We also have major activity off the coast of Portugal, 5.0 in the North Atlantic near Atlantis. And that's a boom. Yes, we know what we're talking about. And we know science, especially geology. That's what my degrees are in. Huge underwater volcano chain discovered off the coast of Tasmania. Now, kids, they've known about these seamounts for decades. In fact, they've known that there are hundreds of thousands of underwater volcanoes that we are unaware of. And as technology gets better and these graduate students look under the water, their minds are blown because exactly what we've known about for decades is right in there. Wow, these kids are geniuses. I love it. Man, there's so much science going on. My head is going to explode. Wow, they found volcanoes under the ocean. You know who found volcanoes under the ocean? Robert Felix. In one of his books, he writes about magnetic reversals, volcanoes erupting, evolution. He even writes about the coming ice age, which is triggered by underwater volcanoes. He's going to be at LeakCon. Yeah, this is an exclusive event happening for the first time ever in Denver, Colorado on May 18th and 19th. One of our keynote speakers, Robert Felix, will be talking about magnetic reversals and evolutionary leaps. Heads up. He's the first person to scream about underwater volcanoes decades ago, and only now mainstream science and the mainstream media are picking up on the fact that they exist, because as the cosmic rays increase on Earth and these babies start to blow, people have questions because these volcanoes are going to heat the oceans. And that's a fact, Jack. Fact, Jack. Boom! Scientists have uncovered a chain of volcanic seamounts off the coast of Australia and Tasmania. Say it ain't so. Whew, I would have never known. Worldwide volcano news update. Dukono, Sabancaya, Aoba. Aoba is also Ambe, which came into the spotlight just about 6 months ago. Semisopochnoi. Both Ambe and Semisopochnoi are on the downtick. Explosive activities are declining at Semisopochnoi with continuing high seismicity. That doesn't look good. That usually happens before a major event. What happens is there's initial lava and seismic activity. The seismic activity continues to increase when there's a decrease in output from the volcano as far as gas and lava. And because the voids are being filled, the ancient voids are being filled with that lava. And then they build up and then they erupt. So the next step for Semisopochnoi is an eruption in the next 8 weeks. Mark my words. Aoba activity. There is no further activity at Ambe, and those people are safe, thankfully. Most of them are evacuated, and no one is on that island. Heads up! Being on that island is stupid! Boom! Are you on that island? Get off! Get off! Or I'll blow you up. Boom! Dukono, continuous volcanic ash. We also have Popo, Barren Island, and Reventador. Yes, Cadavar. Volcanic ash has been observed. That baby could also be blowing soon. We have lots of activity in volcanoes that are very dangerous and very explosive. We had Mount Oso erupting live. Where did it go? Oh, holy shit. Let's reopen the tabs and see what we got. That is not it. Come over to Volcano YT and you can check out Mount Oso erupting live today. I don't think we can do it. We're already 23 minutes in. We'll check on it tomorrow. The sea may be absorbing way more heat than we thought. Well, that's a tricky place to put it. As the globe cools, these warmists need to put the heat somewhere. So the sea is absorbing way more heat than they thought. Oh, thank God, we're saved. We've been saved. Pricks. Final report says cell phone radiation may cause cancer in rats, but not people. Whew, thank God. Thank God that if they put a phone by a rat, it gets cancer by its heart, but we won't. You're safe, people. NBC News said that you're safe according to this report. Only rats get cancer from cell phones, not humans. Only rats get cancer from cell phones, not you. It's impossible because we said it in that article. It's impossible. We agree that these findings should not be applied to humans, according to the FDA. Isn't that Monsanto? I think Hillary Clinton worked there. I think every lawyer that ever worked for the FDA worked at Monsanto, and now they work at the FDA. And they say it's safe. It only causes cancer in rats. It's only rats, guys. Boom! It's only rats. We know what we're talking about. We're the best. NASA Dawn spacecraft is dead. It's a bad week for space explorers. None of the spacecrafts are working. But luckily at the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, we've got live footage now from our unlimited budget and Jiffy. Please work. We're live at the dawn. We're taking a picture of ourselves from a moon in the middle of space. Here we are, back live near Ceres. But NASA, the spacecraft is dead. While people on Earth celebrate Halloween, NASA is completely incompetent and loses another one of its spacecraft. I doubt it. Are you fucking kidding me? All of our satellites are dead. All of our satellites have gone blank. We have no idea what's happening out in space anymore because it's becoming way too dangerous for you to understand what's happening out in space. So all of these billions of dollars we've spent no longer work, and we can't tell you what's happening out there anymore. Ever. Because it's not happening anymore. They're all broken. We broke them. They're broken. Sorry. We broke it. The time has come to unveil the lies. This shit is happening quickly. It's unfolding before your very lives. If you need facts, come to LeakCon 2019, where we will provide you with up-to-date information on the bullshit that is being shoved down your neck. Use coupon code BOOM for 20% off before it sells out. It's going to happen in the next 45 days. I'm not even going to tell you how many tickets are left. 77 VIP and 212 general admission. Robert Felix Diamond is going to talk about cosmic catastrophe and the upcoming grand solar minimum, what you need to know. Greg Allison's going to talk about the grid that's about to fail and how to grow worms. Christian Westbrook is going to talk about crazy shit and have hydroponics on his head. And Lee Wilbarger is going to tell you about 9/11 and what he knows. And if you think he's a shill, call him on his bullshit and show up. You're a coward and you won't, and I know it. Guess what? We're flying in David Dubine from the other side of the planet. That's costing thousands of dollars. So you need to come here because he's never coming back to the U.S. ever again except for this event. Rex Bear will be there, but he wears a tinfoil hat and God knows what he'll talk about. Probably ant people and aliens, and he'll say nanu nanu. Heads up. Buy your ticket now or you won't be there. And you'll have to watch it from live stream like the 3,500 other people that didn't have enough money to actually be there live because they didn't have an actual job and they didn't realize how important this weekend was going to be. Yeah, it's going to be pretty important because there might not be another one of these. And in fact, the next one might be happening during the actual end, which would be awesome. If you need to prepare before the end, come over to the Oppenheimer Ranch Project store. Buy all your Christmas gifts here. If you haven't been here, we have thermal imagers, UVA, B, C meters, radiation meters, thermal imaging meters, Scandinavian hatchets, Grand Solar Minimum, Preparedness Library, Winter Survival Essentials, Fresnel lenses, knives, Rambo's in there, wind power, turbines, kits, cannabis care products, greenhouses. Every type from rigid to cheapy, season extenders, clutches and tunnels, survival seeds, seed banks, the cheapest on the planet, the biggest seed banks you can get for the lowest prices, grow lights, hydroponics, bomb systems, storm shelters, bomb shelters, Faraday cages, first aid kits, solar flashlights, rocket stoves, solar systems, solar panels. Holy shit. That is fucking a lot of shit. Shit ton of shit. Hope you got something out of the video. Guy Fawkes will not save you. I have that mask on. I am Guy Fawkes. I am anonymous. You are too. Wake up. Do something. Take action. Be the change. Do it now. Do not ask permission. They will say no.